6-7 KCAL rocks. It is a Thursday, and man, it's time to talk some sports with our guy Pep. And believe it or not, there's a lot to talk about, Pep?
There is a lot to talk about in a variety of different sports, and we could always talk football, and we always do. We've been talking about the Chargers opening training camp, right? They get a head start on a lot of other teams because of the Hall of Fame game that they're going to be playing in at the end of the month. Well, the Chargers also announced this week that they've already got like a bunch of uniform, combinations, but now they've got two new ones. One of them they're calling the Gold Charger Power uniforms, harkening back to the 1970s, and the other one is from that 1994 season in which the Lightning Bolts went all the way to the Super Bowl, and those are the Navy Supercharger uniforms. So they're kind of dipping back into history and bringing some of those back out. So now they've got like 20 different uniforms. I mean, they've got all these different combinations now.
I love it that they're bringing back, especially the Supercharger. Yes, it's an opportunity for them to sell more merch, but I mean, come on. That's a little tip of the hat to Junior Seau there, and I kind of like that.
Okay, real quick, Patrick. If not Junior Seau, when you think of these 1994 Navy Supercharger uniforms, who's the first guy you think of?
LaDainian Tomlinson as well, for me. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny is, like, obviously LT's right at the top of my list, but the quarterback from that team, Stan Humphries, was the first guy I thought of, and I don't know why.
Yeah, man, I remember him dislocating his shoulder and keep playing.
Yeah, that was a good Chargers team. They got hammered by my 49ers in the Super Bowl, but they made it to that championship game. So if you're looking for the Chargers, they will have a bunch of different looks for this upcoming season as they go into training camp this week. But hey, we're coming off the heels of I would say the most exciting Major League Baseball All-Star game we've seen in a long time. Usually they're inconsequential, they're not dramatic. People are just like, oh, okay, they're just going through the motions. This was actually fun, and Kyle Schwarber was the MVP because he won I guess they call it the swing off, where he hit 3 home runs after they were tied 6-6 at the end of 9 innings, and our guy Dino Ebel from the IE was out there throwing the pitches for him.
And he hit 3 tanks.
Yeah.
It was like reminded me of hockey's shootout, baseball's version of the shootout. I thought the game was awesome. It had some very special moments. The Hank Aaron tribute I thought was really cool. Talking to Kershaw and doing his thing on the mound was very funny when he was like, Smoltzy, what do you want up there in the booth? And he says, cutter. And he's like, I don't throw a cutter, Smoltzy. It was hilarious. I thought it was great.
Yeah, having a microphone on Kershaw in what was probably his last Major League Baseball All-Star game was pretty special. Hank Aaron, you mentioned. Freddie Freeman, right? Former Brave, now Dodger, going back to Atlanta for the All-Star game. So, yeah, there was a lot of cool moments. And Major League Baseball got it right. It wasn't actually all about the game. All the different things that, rolled into it. So there was a lot of cool storylines. And now we go into the second half of the season. And we've played more than half of the year already, although we call this like the halfway point. But we've already played close to 100 games this year. So this is really the sprint to the finish to see what teams are going to win division titles or pennants. I still call them pennants. Who's going to win the pennant and make a wild card run? Maybe it could be the Angels.
And we'll see tomorrow, when the games get going again, who gets their mojo rolling for the second half. Just like you said, even though it's a little bit smaller, it is feeling like the second half of the season. Who's got the mojo? We're going to find out. That's who's hot is kind of the baseball thing.
Yeah, I'm excited. Who's going to get hot? We talk about that too. August, September, a team might make a run at the end that we're not expecting. It could be the Angels, could be somebody else. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a lot of fun as we go through these last couple months of the regular season for baseball. Now, Patrick, we got to talk some golf. Let's tee it up. Listen, I love golf as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to stay up all night and watch the Open from Northern Ireland. But they actually teed off technically last night for us here in the Inland Empire on the West Coast. So they're actually, some of them are in the clubhouse. I mean, there's guys, as we talk, 3 under par, -4. But there's other guys who haven't even teed off yet. So guys are already in the clubhouse with some pretty low scores out there at the Open as they compete for the Claret Jug.
Now we'll have to see what happens. I mean, already a difficult course.
Yeah.
The weather conditions could come into play. Of course, it's in the forecast, so it's kind of difficult to know what's going to happen.
Yeah, the Open, more than any other, major, is difficult because you're right. The weather is always unpredictable over there in the UK. And their rough really is rough. I mean, like the grass gets high, off the fairways. So there's a lot of things that complicate the Open. But yeah, we might not see a guy with I don't know, I say this and the scores might run up pretty high, but usually the scores are pretty, close to par. Maybe like a 3 under, a 5 under, a 6 under might win the tournament when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
So, all right, big basketball news as well, man. We keep getting these trades, these big contracts rolling in, and now the Clippers have gotten into it as well. They are landing Bradley Beal, and he's a big-time scorer. I don't know if he's a superstar, but the guy can sure score. So the Clippers now have a new big three when you pair him with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, as Bradley Beal comes over from the Phoenix Suns, and I think they're. Gotta be honest. I mean, these guys are getting older. I think the window is very short for the Clippers. I think they've got a season or two to try to do this. If not, got to go young and kind of maybe start over.
Right. This Beal deal, that's what we can call it nowadays, does have that feeling of, wow, this would have been really great about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
you're right. You're right. I mean, you're right. I mean, these guys are a little long in the tooth, but they're all still pretty good. Yeah. But I think it's a very short leash. Like win this year, maybe one more year. I don't know how their contracts, how that's going to work out. I think they're all on the book until 2027. But yeah, that window is very, very small for the Clippers to make a run with this kind of team, with these guys as your superstars. If not, I think you got to go to square one and start over again.
Yeah, I feel a blow up coming.
Yeah, you might be right. And finally, speaking of blow-ups, we had the Espy Awards, where it's these sports awards by ESPN. They give it to top athlete, game of the year, all this stuff, and they always bring in a celebrity, a comedian, someone to host it. Well, Shane Gillis hosted the Espy Awards. Patrick, you saw the clips. I saw a bunch of the clips. Some of his monologue stuff. Dude, nobody was safe. In sports, out of sports, everyone was fair game for Shane Gillis.
And I mean, this was on ABC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was going out everywhere. And I mean, I loved it because it went very anti. ESPN has been taking lots of heat for being too political or doing too much of this or doing too much of that. Did they do this on purpose? Did they know he was going to go that hardcore? I mean, you're right. He went everywhere from Caitlin Clark and race and Trump and Epstein. I mean, no one was safe. You could definitely feel the uncomfortable feeling of everyone in the audience like, uh-oh, I hope he doesn't pick me out because he's shredding people.
Yeah, he'll say a very, racy joke. And then I love how they cut away to the crowd and everyone's just kind of like squirming in their seats like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just said that. And, so maybe it's the first and only time he's going to host them,
Right.
Or, but like a lot of these jokes, I think he even said it. I didn't write that one. That wasn't mine. that was somebody else's. But they were all zingers, man. He went after everybody.
And I mean, is this in a sense a good thing? Because remember, he survived the cancellation. They tried to cancel him for a joke he did on Saturday Night Live, or what they found something that he said on a podcast a lot of time ago when he was with Saturday Night Live. He survived that. Is this just is it finally going so far where it's like, let's not get offended about every single little thing. It's a joke. I loved it.
I think you're right, Patrick. I think at some point we got to swing back the other way and say, listen, dude, we cannot be offended after every little thing. And here's the deal. If you don't want to watch the ESPYs, don't watch the ESPYs. Go click on something else. Go watch your Little House on the Prairie or something.
And just the guts it took to do that, to know this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. I mean, I have to give him props for that. Do I like Shane Gillis? I do. And I do think he's funny, but he went after everyone. In terms of staying true to being a comedian, I mean, he got a 10 out of 10.
Yes, I like Shane Gillis too, and he did not play it safe just because he was on ESPN, man. He went all out. I'm not going to repeat the jokes. They're out there if you want to find them, but it was hilarious.
I'll play him for you. Right, Pep? Congrats, bro. He stayed true to himself, just like our guy, Pep. Tell him how to get your stuff.
Anytime. Get my stuff on Inland Sports. We're on X. We're on Instagram and Facebook as well. You can also find us on YouTube. If you are down with the IE, you like positive sports stories, check us out. That's Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep.